What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to spreadsheets. Today, I want to figure out who can mathematically win the NBA Finals. What has caused me to ask this question today? Well, I was on my YouTube channel responding to every single comment like I always do. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, do all of those things. And I got a comment to my ideal off-season video. It comes from Battle Rapper Day, right here, frequent commenter on the channel. Thank you very much. And he asked an amazing question. He said, with Devin Booker being good enough to lead a team to the finals and having a 93rd percentile on dunks and threes, what does that mean? There's a website, Dunks and Threes here, has to do with EPM numbers, right? EPM is something we've talked about on this channel a lot. It's one of the best statistics we have in basketball, at least in my opinion. It's a really well thought out stat. And basically what he's saying is like, hey, if you go down to like the 93rd percentile, like somewhere around here, you're going to find Devin Booker, at least the year that he took his team to the finals, meaning he was in the 93rd percentile for players overall that season. He then went on to ask, like, what's the lowest dunks and threes percentile you've seen a number one option be for a championship team? He gave a couple examples and things like that, and I was like, wow, that's an amazing question, actually. What are the minimum requirements to be a championship team analytically? And so that's what I've done today. I've gone through, done the math, done the study, and found from the past 20 years of NBA champions, what are their analytics, right? What are their EPM numbers? I went through, got all of the numbers, and I've thrown them into this spreadsheet here. From there, I've found the minimum requirements it takes to win an NBA Finals. So that's what we're going to discuss today. But hey, seriously, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment to my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Go give my do they fit in the NBA video, or are they NBA ready videos to watch? Because they always get demonetized, and they're my favorite to do on the channel. Ideal Offseason is back. I'm not sure when this video is getting posted, because there may be, like, if the Grizzlies just lose this weekend, then you're going to get a video of them on Monday. If not, whenever they lose, you're going to get a video of them as well. So go give those a watch. They're the highest rated videos on the channel. But anyway, we're here to talk about NBA champions. So let's break this down. Let's talk about this a little bit. What's going on here? So again, EPM numbers are basically a really high-level statistic that take into account a bunch of different things, right? And from there, you're going to get a number for offense, for defense, and then overall. Under there is a percentile. So when we talked about 93rd percentile for Devin Booker, that's where he would have fallen in, 100 being the best, 0 being the worst, right? Shai Gilgeous is at the top here. Who is at the worst this year? It was Cody Williams for the Jazz. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Cody. I keep forgetting that it's you there. But are statistics perfect? No, but this is one of the better statistics, man, that really encapsulates a lot of different things. It's a really individualized statistic, so it's a pretty cool thing. If you want to read more about it, you can go, like, click here and read more about how these statistics work. But that really got me thinking, like, okay, let's go through the last 20 years of NBA champions. Let's go get their numbers and figure out what it takes, so that way we can take a look at the current playoffs and see which teams can actually win. It's an awesome question. I'm really excited to talk about it. So here's how the study works, right? I went, and here's the math basically. I wrote, look, you could weight all of these numbers a lot better, right? Because here's how everything works. Basically, I went and pulled all the EPM numbers for everybody that was on a championship team. In 2005, the Spurs won the championship, and we're going to go through each individual one, but pulled all of their numbers. They had to have at least 15 minutes per game played. They're in order based on how many minutes per game they played, and they had to play at least 30 games, right? To make sure we have some accurate statistics. Then I shortened the list to just be a playoff rotation, right? Because typically rotations are a lot longer in the regular season than they are the off season. So just an FYI as to why these players are here. I wrote, you could weight all of this better. Like, I could weight all of these numbers by minutes per game. EPM does take into account that. Again, you could kind of like double index that or something. You could, and it could be more accurate, but then you do it, right? You do it. I'm here to make a YouTube video that's simple to understand. I don't need to do a whole math tutorial. So we're going to go through, we're going to talk about each championship team very briefly, their average team EPM, and then what was their best player, right? Because that's answering the other question that Battle Rapper Day had, is like, hey, what's the lowest max player EPM that we've seen? Like, what's the minimum requirement that we need to win a championship? You'll see over here, just to answer the question right now, we're going to go through it, and then we'll jump over to the current NBA teams and talk about who could realistically win the championship then. Lowest team EPM was a 0.6. You'll see right here up at the top, these numbers are pretty high. 2.33, 1.34, 1.97. The lowest was a 0.6. So that's something we're going to have to talk about. That's kind of interesting. The lowest top player was a 3.6. on EPM. Also very interesting. If you're curious, the highest team EPM was a 3.45, and the highest top player was an 8.8. Go into the comments now and maybe guess who it is ahead of time. But anyway, let's start breaking down the teams, right? So, first team, 2005 Spurs, you got Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Bruce Bowen, Manu Ginobili, Nazr Mohammed, Brent Barry, and Robert Horry. All very familiar names here. You'll see Manu Ginobili actually led the team in EPM. He was their most effective player that season. Tim Duncan, also an incredibly high number here. We've got some really high-level contributors here in Tony Parker, Bruce Bowen, Brent Barry, and Robert Horry were really, really good for them. Nazr Mohammed, I don't actually think was their starting center that year, but he played most of their playoff minutes. So there you go. He was a net negative. I remember when he was on the Bulls at the end of his career, he was really just there to be tall. That's all he was there to do. But pretty solid team, man. 2.33. When we see that the highest was 3.45, this is a pretty damn good team in and of itself. And obviously their max player being Manu Ginobili that year. Pretty interesting starting spot, right? Moving on to 2006, the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade, Jason Williams, Udonis Haslem, Shaquille O'Neal, James Posey, Gary Payton, and Antoine Walker. Obviously, the back half of their rotation, not quite as good. Gary Payton was pretty old at this point. You have Shaq, but look at how dominant Dwayne Wade was in comparison to the rest of this team, right? I know people have talked about Shaq not coming into shape or not being in great shape that year, but when you have two players as dominant as Dwayne Wade and Shaq were, that's apparently enough to go get you a championship. Dwayne Wade being the leader for this group and an average of 1.34, literally almost a point less than the team a season before, which is pretty incredible, right? Pretty incredible. And it's kind of interesting because as we go to 2007, that team comes back, right? That team comes back and they're still in contention because they were that good, right? 2007, Tim Duncan again, Tony Parker, Bruce Bowen, Manu Ginobili, Michael Finley now here, Fabricio Oberto, and Robert Horry. Some negative numbers here. Manu Ginobili again, though, leading the team. So if you're curious about how impactful Manu Ginobili was, man, he was impactful. Tim Duncan still really, really good. Tony Parker, even better than he was before because he was obviously younger at that point as well. And Robert Horry considerably still a big-time factor for these teams. But overall, still a really good basketball team. You still kind of see that max player up in the 6 range there. We move on to the 2008 Celtics. Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo, James Posey. Again, kind of coming over from that Heat team that was winning things. If you look at him here, he was a positive as well. And then you have Big Perk, Kendrick Perkins, all of these guys positive in the rotation, all of them, which is pretty nuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people really only made up their postseason rotation, at least in terms of considerable minutes, which is pretty crazy. But when you have a team that's that good, it's kind of hard to beat. At 2.98, 6.4 was Kevin Garnett. He led the team. His 6.4, yeah, that matches what Manu Ginobili was that year. So we're starting to see a little bit of consistency. Paul Pierce, really good second option. Ray Allen was awesome. Young Rajon Rondo, high-level contributor, but one team that was all positive, man, all positive. So pretty sick there. Moving on to the 2009 Lakers, Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant, Derek Fisher, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, Trevor Ariza, and shout out Luke Walton, man. Shout outs to Luke Walton. And again, we're gonna this is just to kind of get an idea of like all time, right? Because like we all remember these teams. I think it's kind of cool to look back and be like, okay, so this is how good this team was. Like I remember watching this team growing up. This Lakers championship here, this was the first like season I really like watched basketball closely. I would have been about 10 at this point, so this was my first time. I remember watching Kobe and just being like so inspired. I was like, I gotta be in basketball, man. This Kobe guy's awesome, right? So that's when I really started to get into basketball, and so I hold that in such a high regard. So it's kind of cool to put a number against like other people to see where they are. But Kobe Bryant leading the team with a 5 being the lowest that we've actually seen so far, but got some other high performers on the team in Pau Gasol, Lamar Odom, Derek Fisher, Andrew Bynum, and Ariza were solid. Luke Walton, dude was on the team. He was there. He got a -1, but, you know, it's okay. And again, these statistics are not perfect. Like, I hope you guys know that. Like, I want that to be incredibly clear. These are not God numbers, because a lot of things come into account still. You're still on certain teams, asked to do certain things, right, that, like, statistics just can't capture. So I hope that that's abundantly clear to everybody. But I think it's important to talk about nonetheless. Moving on to 2010, the Lakers, again getting it done with Kobe Bryant, only as a 3.6. We talked about it. Lowest top player ever was a Kobe Bryant 3.6 season. Kind of interesting to think about, right? We all know Kobe Bryant was a very, very good player. Not his best season ever, but probably around the playoff time, kicked it up quite a bit, right? But lowest we ever saw in terms of a performance was a 3.6. The rest of the team, though, was pretty positive, with Pau Gasol, added Metta World Peace, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, and Derek Fisher. So overall, pretty damn good team. Another 6-man rotation here, but 3.6 and a 1.85. Those are the lowest. Oh no, the Heat team still lower up to this point, but kind of interesting to look at. If we can go down to the 2011 Mavericks, the years that I really fell in love with basketball because of Derrick Rose becoming a thing as a Bulls fan, so kind of cool. This is the all names team right here, and they had a deep rotation. You'll see 9 guys deep on this team, but we had Dirk, right? Obviously, Dirk, extremely dominant player. And then you know all the rest of these names: Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler. Shout out Corey Brewer, JJ Barea, got to meet him once, pretty cool. Peja Stojakovic and Brendan Haywood. All of these guys are part of the rotation, but only a .89 overall as a team, and it's because you were playing just a lot of guys, and a lot of them were negative. Sean Marion, Corey Brewer, JJ Barea. And by the way, negative doesn't necessarily mean bad. You could have like a negative .5 and still be like a 60th percentile above average NBA player, but just for simplicity's sake, right? Obviously, positive is better than negative. And then Brendan Haywood, who it looks like the conditional formatting didn't match. There we go. All better now. But a .89 was all it took, but it's still not the lowest. So this is not the worst championship team we've seen in recent memory, which is kind of interesting to take a look at. .89, not the worst, but the Mavericks on the lower end of things, but they had a Dirk and a Jason Kidd carrying them along the way. Next people to take a look at, we've got the 2012 Heat, the super team, right? The super team was formed. We've got a 7.2 LeBron James, an incredible number to look at. The highest one we've seen up to this point. Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade at a 4.2, Mario Chalmers all the way up at a 2.2, Udonis Haslem, a little bit rough at this point, Shane Battier, again, this is still an above average player at a -0.2 typically, but shout out Joel Anthony, and then you got Mike Miller on the team, so a 1.75 overall, an extremely dominant prime LeBron James, right, partnered up with 3 other players that were having really good basketball seasons and some solid role players. Got things done, right? An extremely dominant team. And then they go back to back, right? We all remember them going back to back. They were the ones that played against this Mavericks team, if you guys remember correctly. So 2013 Heat come back at it with an even more dominant LeBron James, 7.9. Still not the highest we're going to see on this, so I'm curious if you guys are figuring out who these people are going to be. And actually a worse team overall. So look at this. So you got LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, again, still putting up good numbers. Mario Chalmers still putting up good numbers there. Ray Allen joins the team. And again, -0.3, still a positive NBA player, but not as good overall. Shane Battier had a much better season. Norris Cole, I looked through like all of his numbers throughout his career, really rough. Negative 3.8. If you would have taken him out of the rotation, you would jump up significantly. He was not helping this team out a ton. And then Udonis Haslem still on there. So shout out Udon, man. But 7.9 overall, a worse team, but maybe just because they were playing Norris Cole more minutes. Norris Cole was on the team here, but they didn't use him in their playoff rotation. So kind of an interesting thing to look at there. Now the Spurs are back with a deep lineup, a very deep lineup. The last one that you're going to see this core win, so a very dominant Spurs run, but you'll see a 2.09 team rating. That's pretty high compared to a lot of the ones we've been seeing. We've been seeing a lot of them in the ones, right? So as soon as you start to get into the twos, you got a pretty good team overall here. So if we can just take a look at this, it's just an extremely overall positive team. You got Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, a young Kawhi Leonard leads the team at a 4.5. Not the highest number we've seen, not the lowest number, so 4.5 looking like an interesting benchmark as of right now. Marco Bellinelli, I loved Bellinelli. Boris Diaw, the only negative on this team, but still a negative 0.1 would probably put you in like the 60th percentile, so pretty incredible. Danny Green and Manu Ginobili were huge for this team off the bench. Look at these numbers. It's incredible. Tiago Splitter, if you guys remember him, and then Patty Mills. Oh, again, the conditional formatting not making it all the way down. There we go. So Patty Mills, a 3.1 as the 9th man in the rotation is pretty incredible. So really, really cool. This is just a really well-built and balanced basketball team. This is prime just Spurs throwing the basketball around and just making perfect passes and never being, it's never necessary to dribble even. Really, really cool, but still being led by a really dominant Kawhi Leonard at that point. So moving on to the 2015 Warriors, and right away we see the highest rating that we're going to see from a max player, and that is 2015 Steph Curry with an 8.8. 8.8. If we go and look at estimated plus minus right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 8.6, Jokic 8.3. So Steph Curry still higher than any of the guys we're seeing up to this point. You know, people have just only gotten better at basketball, so it's cool to see. Obviously, the rest of the team, Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, I think this is the first time we've ever seen somebody, have two teammates after the best player, have two guys in the 4. I mean, Kawhi Leonard just won a championship being a 4.5, so you basically have two more Kawhis on the team with Steph Curry on there. Yeah, no wonder they won that year. You also have Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala, Andrew Bogut, and then Sean Livingston actually had a negative 1.4 this season, but a 2.79 overall team, in large part because of the big three. They were so good. And then obviously Steph Curry this was the most dominant like basketball season we've seen out of someone in the last 20 years at least. So pretty cool to see, at least analytically. That's how you can put it. Now we have the 2016 Cavaliers. Yep, we're at that time in the NBA where it's just Cavs Warriors all the time. LeBron is back at a 6 again. Really, really impressive. Kevin Love with a 3.6. Kyrie Irving still having a good season. J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson played a ton of minutes that year too. And then you have Amon Shumpert and Richard Jefferson. Shout outs to Richard Jefferson. That guy cracks me up. But a 1.49 average team EPM, not the greatest, but you got LeBron, you got K-Love, you got Kyrie. Good things happen, right? They were able to beat the Warriors that season. It was a battle, man. That was potentially the greatest NBA Finals that I've ever watched. It was really, really cool to see. Alrighty, moving back down to the Warriors again, and the super team that was the best super team ever was made. The 2017 Golden State Warriors. So what was our highest team EPM ever? It was 3.45. Have we hit the 3.45 yet? This is it. Okay, yeah. So this is statistically the best team in terms of EPM that we've ever seen, like in the last 20 years. It was the 2017 Warriors. Surprise, surprise. A team that was already that good. Klay Thompson here at the top, but you have Steph Curry and Kevin Durant in the 7s. A 7.4 and a 7.2. Insane. Then a Draymond Green, a 4.5. Again, we saw Kawhi Leonard being a best player at a 4.5. Andre Iguodala here, and then Sean Livingston again at the negative 2.1. We all remember this team, man. They were completely dominant. There was nothing anybody could do to stop this team, and they ended up winning it. Obviously, it was the highest average team EPM we ever saw. 7.4 is an incredibly high max as well, and there was a guy not far behind him. So no surprise there that they got things done. And then we go back to the Warriors in 2018, a considerable drop in EPM, but still a max out at a 7.4 for Curry again. See Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant at a 4.8, still really good. Draymond Green, this team is a little bit more injured that season. Iguodala starts to fall off considerably. Kevon Looney enters the rotation, and Sean Livingston still struggling a little bit. I don't know why my conditional formatting didn't make it down to all of these. That's interesting. But anyway, you take out like a Sean Livingston or something like that, they jump up a ton. So just something to keep in mind there, that maybe you shrink the rotation a little bit more, you weight this even more with minutes, and it probably looks a lot better. But this team still good enough to get it done. No surprise here because of the big four. So moving on to 2019, we have that Raptors team and a Kawhi Leonard return. Like, look at the high levels of green on this team. And again, a lot of names that you're going to recognize. Kyle Lowry here to 3.4. Awesome. Kawhi Leonard, even better this year to 4.8. That was still one of the most dominant performances I feel like I've seen in like a playoff stretch. Pascal Siakam, 3.3. Marc Gasol was a 4 as well. So like, just these four at the top, that's a lot of incredibly high numbers to have here. Danny Green, again, makes a big push for a team at a 2.4. Fred VanVleet is on the team. He's got a 0.5. Serge Ibaka still a 1.7. And then Norman Powell made up the back half of this rotation. OG Anunoby's on this team, too. He just didn't... he played a lot of regular season minutes, but not in the playoffs, so he kind of fell off. But Norman Powell there as well. What a team Toronto... compiled. A 2.4 is really, really good. So kind of interesting to see that. And then obviously the 4.8 being the best player on the team. Now we go to the 2020 Lakers. What the fuck? Who wrote this? Mickey Mouse ass championship. I don't know who wrote this, but right here you'll see this is our worst team to win a finals. And it's kind of interesting. This was obviously the vid season, right? Where the season stopped, people were able to get healthy, and then we come and we do the bubble. So kind of an outlier in the data, right? But let's take a look at this. You've got a LeBron James at a 6.2, amazing. Anthony Davis at a 5.3, amazing. So you've got your top end here, but then after that, it's rough. KCP, Kyle Kuzma, not contributing at a high level. Danny Green, always doing his thing. Then we got a old Avery Bradley, old Rajon Rondo, old Markieff Morris, then Dwight Howard, actually a pretty good contributor that year. But this was like the worst rotation ever. So whether you want to say this is Mickey Mouse ass championship, I don't know who wrote that, but I can't, man. Word of the video. I always put in a word of the video to know that you guys are like actually watching the whole thing. Put Mickey Mouse somewhere in your comment, a little like ho ho, something like that. That way I know you've watched the entire video. Put in your comment somewhere, but. Really interesting here. Whether you want to say that this was just kind of such a janky season that someone like this was able to come out, which, yeah, there's some truth to that. Or you just want to put this on LeBron and say, like, hey, LeBron took the worst team ever of the last 20 years to a championship, then you're not wrong. You're statistically not incorrect with that. So there you go, you LeBron lovers. You've got a little more ammunition because of your old boy AVC. All right, moving on to the 2021 Bucks. Giannis's championship year. We've got Chris Middleton up here at the top in terms of minutes, and we got Giannis at a 5.1, incredible. Drew Holiday at a 4.3. Really, really good. Dante DiVincenzo was a positive. Brooke Lopez had a great year. PJ Tucker was not very good. Their average team EPM was only a 1.33. It feels like, I wonder if we're going to see a trend of these numbers going down at all. It doesn't appear that way as of right now. I'm like, again, I didn't spend a ton of time like thinking through everything with this analysis. So there's 1,000 different ways that you can take this analysis and more things that you can interpret from this. So feel free if you want to like post some of the things that you see from this in the comments. I would find that interesting. But anyway, PJ Tucker was quite the negative. If you were to take him out, they jump up pretty considerably. Pat Connaughton's there, and then Bobby Portis starting to come on, and he becomes a folk legend for the Bucks. So there you go. Kind of an interesting season. Giannis leading that team, even though they had like some rough bench. Overall, it's pretty positive. And the Warriors get another championship with a new group of people. Steph Curry still at a 6.3 2, giving you high level basketball. We've got a 2.19 average team, so this is a good team. They're all in the positives. Andrew Wiggins, 1.1. Jordan Poole, 1.4. Klay Thompson and Draymond, still your second and third options for things. Otto Porter Jr., we remember how good he was that playoff run, and then Kevon Looney. So second time we've seen a team that's all in the positive. So just a really balanced NBA team, and one that we didn't necessarily think was going to be, but Andrew Wiggins was awesome, Jordan Poole was awesome, Otto Porter was awesome, and Looney was just doing everything he could for them. So what a team. Shout out the 2022 Warriors, and obviously having a Steph Curry on top is important. It's what we found. We're almost to the end, y'all. We're almost to the end. The 2023 Nuggets. Yeah, not that long ago, Nuggets had won a championship, right? And it's a pretty similar group of guys. The only difference you're really seeing is the bench, right? So something to take a look at, especially because, like, I feel like I can talk about this one a little more because this core is still together for the most part, right? This shows you what it took for the Nuggets to get it done. It only took them a 1.24 to win because they had a Nikola Jokic at an 8.2. Where's Jokic at this year? 8.3. He's even better than where he was before. He somehow keeps getting better. So, and that's no surprise, right? We have Jamal Murray here at a 1.5. Aaron Gordon, the second most impactful player in the team, at a 3.6. KCP at a 0, which is still good overall. Michael Porter Jr. up at a 2.1, really good as well. You get to the bench, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, Thomas Bryant, and they're all in the negative. Jeff Green was really negative this whole season. It got even worse in the playoff times, but you know, he was a vet to have out there. We all remember how good Bruce Brown was for that playoff run, so obviously he stepped his game up quite a bit. But if you were to go look at the EPM numbers for their bench now, it's even worse than where it is here. So that's hurting that team, right? And obviously no KCP anymore, but Christian Brown actually is much higher. So if you could just take this Nuggets and get any sensible bench under them, statistically speaking, they can probably win a championship, right? So kind of interesting to look at there. But obviously having a Nikola Jokic all the way up at the top, pretty damn good. And then our most recent champions right here, the Boston Celtics, another team that is all in the green, baby, all in the green, at 2.7. We knew this team was stacked. Now you know statistically how stacked it is, right? And the max player being a 4.4, one of the lower ones that we've seen overall. I mean, what was the lowest top player that we saw? Was a 3.6, and which one was that one again? That was Kobe, and again, he probably stepped it up quite a bit come playoff time, but one of the lower ones in Jason Tatum, but still, just had a super stacked team around him. Jaylen Brown having a 2.5. Drew Holiday won championships before. Derek White almost up at the 4. Porzingis was in the 4. Al Horford at a 0.7 and Peyton Pritchard at a 1.5. Okay, so we've done this, right? I just listed off a bunch of numbers at you. I took you down a trip of memory lane, remembering all the champions, right? So now that we know what the lowest team EPM that's ever won is, the lowest top player that you can have, let's take a look at the current team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this other tab, and it's going to be the same thing, but with all the current teams. And it's going to basically flag them and say if they don't meet this lowest team EPM requirement or this lowest top player EPM requirement, it's going to tell us, hey, this team can't win a championship, right? This team, statistically, we've never seen a team like this win a championship before. And that doesn't mean it can't happen, right? Like, things just will happen eventually, right? Like, the lowest team ever had to happen at some point, and the highest team ever had to happen at some point. But let's take a look at current teams and see which ones can actually win the finals. All right, let's start off with the Thunder. Thunder being the number 1 seed overall this season. No surprise whatsoever. Statistically, they can win it, right? So again, our requirements, you have to be above, or you have to have a player above a 3.6, and you have to be above a 0.6. By the way, at the end of the video, we're going to remove the outliers and see who stands after we remove the outliers. So I promise you we'll get to that point. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the second highest level we've ever seen as a player, so they definitely got the player to get it done, right? And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Then you have all positives, again, a 3.11, incredibly high team EPM. Obviously, a favorite to win the finals this year. Jalen Williams at a 3.6, Lou Dort 1.5, Hartenstein 2.2, Cason Wallace just a plain 0, Chet at a 3.3, 2.6 from Isaiah Joe, and a 3.1 from Caruso. The 9th guy minutes-wise in their rotation this season at a 3.1. What an incredible basketball team. Yep, statistically, they can win, right? They're saying that they can win the finals from this. So now, if I am to zoom in just a little bit more, now we got the Memphis Grizzlies right here. Statistically speaking, looking like they can win a championship as well. They've got a pretty deep team right here, so this is kind of interesting. Desmond Bane at a 2.3, John Morant 2.9, Jaren Jackson Jr. just crosses that 3.6 requirement, and he's at a 3.7. Statistically, the Grizzlies, we've seen a team like this win a championship. Jalen Wells, not obviously a part of things right now, so you could potentially even take him out now. It doesn't change the outcome. It actually makes them a little bit better. But we understand that. Santi Aldama at a 1. He's had a really good season for them. Luke Kennard is there. Zach Edey is a positive, and Scottie Pippen Jr. all the way at the 9th man in the rotation, still a positive as well. So Grizzlies could win the finals. Doesn't seem like they're going to because they're playing the Thunder. But something to keep perspective of is the West is pretty good. We're on to the Nuggets. Nuggets could win the finals, apparently. Look at this, and no surprise here. It's because a lot of these guys were champions in the past, right? Nikola Jokic, 8.3 still. So they've got the player good enough to get things done, and the average EPM is higher than the 0.6. What's going to happen when we take out the outliers? That's what's going to be interesting for this team. Jamal Murray's still really good. Christian Brown's having an awesome season. Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon not as good as the previous seasons, but still high-level contributors. But when you get to that bench, man, Westbrook and Peyton Watson, it's not really getting it done, is it? So this is going to be a team to watch. Is it going to change when we take out the outliers in the previous data? Moving on to the Clippers. 4 in a row, teams that could statistically win the finals. What is that telling you? Teams are pretty damn good nowadays, right? People are getting really good at basketball. James Harden at a 3.1. Ivica Zubac at a 4.1. Technically the highest rated player on the team this season, so they crossed the threshold, but even still, Kawhi's right there behind him, and he's been slowed down by injuries this whole season, so you could reasonably expect if you took out games where he was just coming back that he'd probably be much higher in this number because he's been really dominant. But Norman Powell having an awesome season. Derrick Jones Jr. was awesome. Chris Dunn's been awesome. And Nick Batum still a solid contributor overall. You've got a team above a 1, which is really incredible. So actually the second highest performing team up to this point. And then obviously they crossed the maximum threshold as the Clippers. So they could potentially win the finals. We've seen worse teams do it, right? So there you go. The Lakers, also good enough to win the finals. Luka Doncic being a 6.2, clearly high enough. They're almost at a 2 for an EPM. You've got Austin Reeves here to 2.7. LeBron still having a really awesome time at his age. Rui Hachimura having a good season. Dorian Finney-Smith as well. Gabe Vincent, he had a really rough start to the season, so I bet you if you were to take that out, might look a little bit better. Notice Jackson Hayes doesn't make it because he doesn't hit the minimum minutes requirement to be in it, and he's looking like he's going to fall out of the rotation in and of itself anyway, so there you go. Lakers could statistically do it, and no surprise because they've got really good players on this team, so something to take a look at. The Timberwolves, no. The Timberwolves, statistically, we've never seen a team this bad win the NBA Finals. And what's the reasoning for it? It has a player here. It's basically saying we've never had a team have a championship team have a player as bad as Anthony Edwards. Isn't that interesting? Anthony Edwards is awesome. He's at a 3.4, but we've never had a championship team within like the last 20 seasons have their best player be as bad as Anthony Edwards is, basically. So interesting, because they crossed the team requirement, and again, maybe it'll be both by the time that we take out the outliers, but kind of interesting. Rudy Gobert is at a 2.1, Julius Randle 1.2. There's so many positives here, right? Jade McDaniels, Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker still really good. Mike Conley 1.3. But it's saying that the Timberwolves don't have the star power, the top-end talent needed to go win a championship. That's the first no. Let's move on to the Rockets. Same story here. It's saying that we don't have a team in the last 20 seasons that their best player has been as bad as, who is it here? It's Amen Thompson is statistically their best player this season. No surprise there. Shout out Fred VanVleet having an awesome year. Jalen Green, positive overall in terms of where he ranks in the league, because a 0 would be above average technically in the NBA. 3.2 is really good, but we've never had a team with a 3.2 being their max win a championship. Dylan Brooks, excuse me, awesome season. Alperen Şengün at a 3. So you got two good players there. Jabari Smith Jr., not that bad. Tari Eason, good. And then Steven Adams, kind of a rougher season, been playing better as of late. So the Rockets, statistically, probably not going to win the finals by our metrics here. Kind of interesting. Going on to the Warriors, we're back in contention. Very interesting. They crossed the player necessary threshold with Steph Curry. He's dominating. And you have Jimmy Butler here, who also would have crossed the threshold as well. So you got two guys that are capable of being best players on a championship team per our statistics right now. So kind of interesting. Draymond Green's here. Pods are here having good seasons. Kuminga is like a part of the rotation now, apparently, so I put him on there. Buddy Hield not having the greatest season ever. Then you got Moses Moody and Quentin Post. You know, they're trying to go a little bit deeper into their bag, but is a 1.3 going to be good enough when we take the outliers out? That's what's going to be interesting to see. Is this team still competitive when we basically take the Mickey Mouse Championship out? Going on to the Cavs, we're in the East now. Cavs can win the finals. No surprise here. 2.58 average team EPM here. Their top player, Donovan Mitchell, he definitely crosses the threshold. He's dominant. And actually, we have 4 people on this team that almost 5 statistically. And again, we'll take out outliers, right? But 4 guys here that are coming in at 1A level options in terms of a season performance. So pretty incredible there, right? And you might be thinking like, what? Evan Mobley option 1A? It's like, well, look at all the other talent he has on the team, right? So like his 18, 19 points a game, he is defensive player of the year, right? So it kind of makes some sense. Kind of interesting to see. So extremely dominant team here is the 2.58, but still nowhere near the 3.11 that the Thunder have. So kind of interesting to see that. But overall with Cleveland, DeAndre Hunter still having a good season. Max Strus still a good one. Ty Jerome, he's been awesome this season. 6th Man of the Year candidate. And then Sam Merrill there, still a positive overall. Very, very cool. Moving on to the Heat, we are saying no. No, they cannot win the finals, and it's actually for both reasons. They don't cross the average team EPM as they're only at a .03, given their best player went on to the Golden State Warriors and Jimmy Butler. And they don't have a star player good enough. So that we're saying in both categories, they're not good enough. Tyler Hero comes in at the top as a 3. Never had a player as bad as, I know that sounds wrong to say, but as bad as Tyler Hero lead a team to a championship. So there you go. Bam Adebayo, still a good player. Andrew Wiggins, still a good player. Davion Mitchell, good season. Terry Rozier, horrible season. Actually, he should be out of the playoff rotation right there. So there you go. It's still both, but there you go. Terry Rozier, rough season. Nikola Jovic is there. Haywood Highsmith, Khalil Ware, right? Nikola Jovic has been in and out, but like he got like quite a few minutes in one of the games, so he still made it through the scrape. So there you go. I put Terry Rozier there actually because I wanted to see what his numbers were and I forgot to take him out. So that's my bad. But overall, this team, not good enough on either end. Just not good enough on either end. The Pacers are apparently good enough to win the NBA Finals. Tyrese Halliburton, we've seen players worse than him lead teams to the finals. Again, that was Kobe Bryant. Somewhat of a skewed statistic, right? Probably. Like, we have to assume he probably picked things up quite a bit. Tyrese Halliburton does so much for his team offensively overall that's going to raise his numbers quite a bit. But statistically speaking, we've seen it happen. Pascal Siakam won championships before. Miles Turner's there. Benedict Mathurin not having the greatest season ever, but you got Nembhard here. You got Nesmith, Obi Toppin, not his best season ever, and TJ McConnell as well, not his best season, but playing pretty well in the playoffs. So they do cross the thresholds, but it's barely in terms of the team. So when we take out the outliers, what does it become? What does it become? The Bucks. No, is what we're saying, and it's because of the team. So what does that mean? This is our first time seeing just the team one. Basically, we're saying the top-end talent is good enough to win a championship. Makes sense. Giannis has won a championship before, but we've never seen somebody drag this bad of a team to a championship, which is really interesting. Dame and Giannis, man, they've been carrying this season. Brook Lopez, solid season. Kyle Kuzma, rough. Torian Prince, a little bit rougher this year. Gary Trent Jr., actually pretty solid season. Bobby Portis, solid season. And Kevin Porter Jr. coming on as of late in the playoffs, but overall not the best season. So it's tough. If you cut Kyle Kuzma out of the rotation, statistically, they win, and they took Kyle Kuzma and actually Brook Lopez out of the rotation against the Pacers and just won a game. So maybe there's something to this analytics stuff. Like there's a lot more that goes into it, but I just find that kind of interesting. So maybe you take Kyle Kuzma out, Bucks, and all of a sudden you're a contender. So just something to look at. The Knicks, surprisingly, no. We have never seen a team like the New York Knicks win a finals because their top end talent isn't there. Karl Anthony Towns statistically their best player, and all of them are in like the positives. Mitchell Robinson's a 0. Miles McBride, Jalen Brunson's having a good season, but not his best season. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. But we've never seen a top-end talent like Cat was statistically this year, just kind of their best player at points, even though defensively he was really rough. But that tells you how good he was offensively this season. We've never seen a team like this win the finals, so kind of interesting to see. We'll see if that ends up panning out, because I would have said that this team could win a finals. The Pistons, nope, they don't have the top-end talent to get it done. We're saying Cade Cunningham, we're so close, buddy. We're getting there, but 3.4. Tobias Harris is a positive. Dennis Schroeder, funny enough, we're saying the team is actually good enough, which is interesting. Again, I think that's going to fall off when we take out the outliers, but Malik Beasley, great season. Jalen Duren's having a nice year. Asar Thompson, both the Thompson twins giving high-level performances, and then Beef Stew, not his greatest season ever, but we still like what Beef Stew brings to the team. So not enough from the Pistons here. The Celtics, surprise, surprise, really, really good. 2.19 overall. Jason Tatum leading the way with a 4.2, very respectable. Everyone else in the positive again. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Peyton Pritchard, Al Horford, Sam Hauser. Incredible basketball team, right? We don't need to spend much time on them. And now, finish off with the Magic. No, we're saying the team is not good enough, but Franz Wagner actually just crosses the threshold of a player good enough. Paolo's probably outplaying him at this point, but overall this season, Franz had a better regular season, and that's what these numbers are based off of. So we're saying, no, the team overall is just too rough, which we've said that about the Magic all season, right? So that makes sense. KCP, rough year. Wendell Carter Jr., actually pretty positive. Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, and Corey Joseph, rougher seasons. Corey Joseph's playing better as of late, so we want to give him credit there. So that tells you the teams that can win the finals. That's the Celtics, that's the Pacers, the Cavs, Warriors, Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Grizzlies, Thunder. But what happens when I go back, right? Let's go back. Our lowest team EPM was the 0.6, right? So let's just take them out, right? Let's take them out. So no longer does that team get counted. The lowest top player was the 3.6. Let's take out the 2010 Lakers then. And because we're doing outliers, we want to take out the top as well, because we're narrowing in our scope of data. So the highest team EPM was the 3.45. So let's go and find out. That was the 2017 Warriors, right? So we're taking the 2017 Warriors out of things. They're an outlier in the data. And our highest player ever was that 8.8, which was the 2015 Steph Curry. So we're taking that out as well. Now, how does this change the data? Thunder are still there. The Grizzlies fall out because now that we've taken the outliers out of the data, they're saying that they don't have a star player good enough to win a championship, which kind of makes a little bit of sense, right? Probably makes a little bit of sense considering what we know. The Nuggets, still good to go. The Clippers have fallen off because they don't have a player good enough. Now, you might argue again, right? And it's a reasonable argument. Again, statistics, you have to be able to rationalize things. Kawhi Leonard's playing at a level good enough to probably win you a championship right now. It's just for most of the season, he wasn't quite there and wasn't quite put together. He seems put together now, so something to consider. Lakers, still good enough. Timberwolves, no. Rockets, no. They're still a player away. The Warriors are still in contention. Still in contention. Cavaliers, still in contention. The Heat, nope, not there for them. The Pacers fall out of things in both the top player and the team. So kind of interesting to see there. The Milwaukee Bucks, no, team's just still not good enough. The New York Knicks, nope, not good enough. They don't have the player. Pistons, no. The Celtics fall out because they don't have a star player good enough. The Celtics are probably the finals favorite right now, but we're seeing statistically that they don't have a star player good enough. We've never seen in the last 20 seasons, excluding outliers, so we have, but excluding outliers, we've never seen a player as bad as Jason Tatum win the finals, even though if we go, Jason Tatum was just at a 4.4 last year and got it done. So again, right, not a perfect thing, but interesting to see, right? So at the end of our study, if we were to take a look at things, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Cavs are the teams that we're saying can statistically win the NBA Finals. Again, this is not a perfect science. I hope you guys know that. I just thought this was an interesting thing to do. This was an awesome question that was asked, and I had a lot of fun just pulling data and kind of looking at this stuff. You could make this study way more in depth and way more interesting, and you could kind of get like a Ken Palm statistic out of this for sure, but I have limited time. I encourage you guys to look into this stuff and figure out what you can see. Go drop it on the Discord or something, and maybe we'll talk about it in a video. Who knows? But I love doing this stuff. If you guys like this type of video, let me know. I think it's fun to do every once in a while. But anyway, let's move on to the comments of the video. That's not the one from Battle Rapper Day. Thank you again for asking the question. Alrighty, comment to the video is coming from our most recent mock draft video here, the crazy lottery luck one. That was a lot of fun. You should go watch it. As a reminder, always go watch the Do They Fit in the NBA videos. They're my favorite to do on the channel, but they always get demonetized unrightfully. So please go give them a watch, because if they keep getting good views, this Will Riley one didn't do as well. You guys don't care for Will Riley. It's like the first one to not get like at least like around 1,000 views in each one. Y'all love Ben Seraph though, probably because international fans and stuff. But go give them a watch. And then Ideal Offseason, it's back, man. Go watch it. Most popular series on the channel. And the comment to the video has to do with that, and I wanted to use this as a way to explain things. It comes from Adam Perry 4216. When will you do an Ideal Offseason for the Pistons? You have you guys suck at spelling. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on blast. Just read your stuff before you send it, and your period's in the wrong place. I'm putting you on blast right now, my boy. This is what happens. You go on the internet, you might get clowned. You have one that's a year old. Love the videos. Thank you. Very informative, high quality, with a bit of humor splashed in, is an incredible recipe for a sports video. Thank you. I like to think that that is a good recipe, but here's how Ideal Offseason works. Your season has to be complete, right? Pistons, they're still playing right now, right? And your draft picks have to be finalized in terms of position, right? Last year, I kind of just was pumping them out and just using like a random lottery to see where we'd end up picking for things. But this year, I'm like, no, that's just, there's too many assumptions being made. So for teams that are in the playoffs and their draft picks are already set, as they get bounced, we'll start to do videos on them. Like, I'm probably going to get a Grizzlies video ready today, because I'm just presuming that the Thunder are going to probably finish them off today, because I'm recording this on Saturday. But yeah, that's what it takes to get an Ideal Offseason video. So just so that everybody's aware, that's how it works. The Suns just so happen to not make the playoffs and not have lottery picks, so we were able to do them right off the bat. But anyway, I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you had fun with these numbers and everything. And I think what'll be really interesting to see is if we come back to this like every single year and we add to it. I feel like we should do this exercise every season and see if it is proven to be true or not. So yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. But anyway, appreciate you guys as always, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks so much. Bye.